So we're going to talk about fungal infections on Trichocereus species. So I've picked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like maybe 15 or something. Out of all of these, I've got about 15 that don't seem to be fixing itself. And I'm going to take some action on it. And I suppose we're going to just talk about how to help them. Now I'm learning as I'm going. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. But I'm sure there's people out there that know less than me, and so this might help them. So we got here Pachanoi cross Terschecchia cross Psycho. And this is the soil. So it's not terrible. It is moist though. So it rained probably 4 days ago, I think. Now this one isn't that bad. It's got that mark there. And this. I think this is the main reason why I want to try and fix it up. That stuff there. It's got this here, but that's completely healed. Like there's no growth happening there. Now if you can see in there, there's the colour on those actual marks. If you get any orange sort of colour, it's sort of active. So this I wouldn't say is super active, and it's not spreading real fast, but I would say it's probably still there. As well as that on there. That looks active, or at least it's on the down. And see, if these look like it's starting to end, this is definitely, that's new. That's orange. That's just come up as well as there. So it's not going away. So I've got to fix it. Now my plan is to fill this up with pumice. It's got pumice in there already. But I want, it obviously can't breathe. It's too wet, there's not enough airflow, and not enough drainage, so I'm going to fill this whole thing up with pumice, and hopefully when it does rain and this is wet, the air can still flow down through here with the pumice, and hopefully as well not hold as much water. Now I'll go through some other ones. I have no idea what the names are of these specific ones. So that doesn't look too bad, like too active there. But there's stuff like that. That's that orange bit in the center, that's active. And the worst part is down here. That looks pretty active. So I think I'm putting a fair bit of pumice in there, both sides, try and aerate it, and I'll probably try and treat this with phosphoric acid. I think that's what it's called. I know there's phosphorus acid and phosphoric, and they're two different things. But yeah, Phos acid is what it's called, the brand or whatever. Then there's, and the soil on this is very different as well to this one. This one's at least got a fair bit of minerals, and that would be more aerated than this. This is quite dense. Now this one seems pretty severe, especially for the size of it. There you can see some there, and there. Now I'm probably going to cut that off and just leave this one, because it's got marks but it actually doesn't have any infection point that I can see. Like whatever's on there is healed, but this one's on the left is still active, so I'm going to cut that off. Just dots again on this one. It's quite small, but it's spread, and it goes all the way up to here. And yeah, so another. So that one I'm probably just going to cut off, and that should be all right. These ones, when they're fairly tall, they need to be up potted. Like, the pot's just too small. They need better soil, because this is my older soil, which, like, you can see how packed in that is. So that's not getting much air in there. And it's wet, you know, so need more aeration and better soil, better nutrients. Same as this one. Another thing though, if the soil is alright and the root system is developed, usually they can handle extra water. Whereas this, because this is potted up and it's got, like, there's no roots here. So all this space from there to there is just wet soil, and nothing is taken away the soil except for evaporation. And I mean, this is taking away some of the water, but it's like the roots are down here. Until it's taken up all this space, it's not going to be able to absorb all that water. So that's another thing how that might affect it, not being able to handle all that water. So maybe what would help is if I didn't fill up the soil all the way, and then as it took up all this space with its roots, then I could add more soil when it could handle it. So these will have to be potted up, better soil. I'll try pumice in there. All of these are going to get pumice. All the big pots going to get pumice in there, like this one. And hopefully that just lets the air flow in and out, and that'll dry up quicker. Now, my only concern is when it's peak summer here in Sydney, Australia, it does get quite hot, and they do get quite dry sometimes. So I'll just have to keep an eye on them, and they might have to get watered once or twice just to make sure they're alright. Like, there's only certain times when it just rains and then it's not hot enough and it just doesn't dry up, so yeah. So this one's not bad either. That one's pretty minimal. This one's got some coloration there. I'm not too sure what that is, but I don't like the look of it. So that'll have to be potted up. This one is, I mentioned this one last time, I think. And so, I mean, it's only been a week or something, but it doesn't seem like it's extended. I might try actually cutting that section out with a disinfected knife, clean it and all that. Because it's not going to rain for the next 10 days, supposedly. And hopefully then there's no chance of it spreading anyway. And there's a bit of stuff here, but most of that's healed. There's a couple other spots trying to come through, but it seems like it's clearing up. It's a bit there, not looking good, but we'll see. What else have we got here? A lot of this stuff is just going to be put in pumice and potted up here. Oh yeah, that's right. And so this soil here isn't actually that bad. Like, there's a fair bit of mineral in there. That's pretty aerated. And what's on here isn't too bad, but it's got to be fixed. So just gonna do more pumice, and I'm thinking, just because this specific cactus has this soil and another one has a soil, doesn't mean they're both going to get fungal infections. In the genes, in the DNA of this cactus, I don't know if that's the right word, but it may just be more susceptible to specific fungal infections, and others might not be. Like, there's majority of that don't have anything, or they might have a couple of dots, and then it just goes away and they fight it off. They're just not as susceptible. But the susceptible ones, I obviously have to fix them up. Here's one that's not too nice. And so yeah, I'm gonna let go any small ones, like stuff like that. I'm gonna try and just fix up the soil, see if it goes away, and then it's fixed. Things like this, I'm gonna cut that out and see what happens. Some people will probably say that that'll make it worse because then I'll just spread it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm learning here. And so another problem. So what is it? How does this stuff happen? Where it's located. So in my backyard, it gets pretty humid. So I've got this fence here, and the sun sort of goes that way. So this area here never gets sun. It goes up to about here, like in the peak. And so even over here as well, that doesn't get as much sun. So there's a few over here that, so I took a few of them there, and then it's got the grass here and bushes behind me. So that's just, yes, it's too humid. So the more humid it is, the more chance they're going to get fungal infections. The less drainage, the more chance. And the less aeration in the soil, the more chance they're going to get these problems. So you need to place them in positions that just won't be good for these fungal infections. If they don't want to grow, they're not going to grow. For example, like over here, like there was none that I picked out from this area because it's just not the best environment. It does probably get a bit humid in the center there because of where it is. But like, for example, this one is potted up. This one's always been in this driveway, but it doesn't get anything. It might have, where are we? I honestly can't see anything active on it, which is awesome. That's good. Same as this guy. This guy was in the back area, and I had a couple of problems, but like, 1 second, there we go. There's something there. But I'm not too worried about it because it's very small stuff, and you can see it's had marks before, and it just seems to take care of itself. And so yeah, you need to make sure you minimize the humidity. If you can't minimize the humidity, you got to make the soil super mineral. Lots of aeration, lots of drainage. Don't put it in a too big of a pot that it can't handle, because all of that surrounding soil is just going to be soaked and the roots cannot take up that much water. I don't know if anybody's noticed with other plants, but if your plant is pot bound, you soak that thing up in summer, it takes up all the water within like less than a week, maybe 3-4 days. But if you put that in a brand new, if you have a plant that's smaller and put it in a big pot, it's going to be soaked for days. So if the plant can't handle that much water, maybe put in a smaller pot, which is my mistake. Like I've done that with so many, because I don't really want to have to up pot constantly to the perfect sized pot. I'd rather just put it in one big pot, and then I don't have to pot it up for like 2 years or something. So now all of these are going to be moved in this spot, because this is probably the least humid spot in the yard. It's quite open, a little bit raised, and it gets the most sun out of all the day. Now I am slightly worried about sunburn, but I'm hoping, because it's still early in summer, they'll get used to it before it gets to the peak. And if they do, well, I might just have to move them or something. Now there's this one here. This one got pretty bad at one point, but it seems to be fixing itself up. Like, it's not, I don't think any of that's active. There might be small spots that are slightly active, but it seems to be, looking after itself. So I'll keep an eye on it. I might draw some pen on there and see if it expands. Now, let's see some worse stuff. Now a lot of this I'm going to be treating with fos acid, just like the whole lot I'll spray as preventative. And these ones I'll probably drench the soil with them. And the pumice and put it in a better spot, and hopefully everything that I'm doing will fix it. Also, I'm trying to give it stuff like chitosan. Chitosan is supposed to be help with like the defense of the plant, just all around health. So if the plant is healthier, it can fend off these problems. Gypsum, just good nutrients and plenty of calcium. But you shouldn't overload it, because then that will also feed the fungal infections. And I'm still sort of learning where the balance is. I haven't fed this year, and I don't know how much I should really give them. Now, most of the stuff we've looked at isn't too active, but we've got this one. So this one was hiding, so I could only see this side of it. So, yeah. And so there's not much on there. But then, because this was over in the middle there somewhere, and behind it, where I couldn't see, this was all growing. And that's bad. And that is very active. Very active, spreading fast, and I need to do something about it. So I'm probably going to cut. I don't know. Honestly, I'm probably just going to give it away. It's a, what is it? Ben. I'm pretty sure I've got a few bens. And maybe I'll cut the tip off, keep the tip, because there's not too much on the tip there. I'll keep that and just give away the rest. It is a graft that I bought. I didn't graft it, but yeah, no, it's not nice. So either that, or I cut it down the bottom. If I really wanted to keep it, I'd cut it down there somewhere, keep the graft going, repot it into better soil. What's the soil like? One second. Like, it's not bad, and it's not overly wet either. It might just be prone to it, I don't know. One thing I haven't mentioned is grubs. So when I was digging them up, where'd the other one go? There was one there, and there was another one there. So I found two just scraping this away. So these guys have been eating the root system. By doing that, it's weakening the plant. The plant's constantly having to try and grow new roots to get more nutrients, and these guys are just making it a difficult time. So if this can't get the right nutrients that it needs, or just grow the way it needs to, it's not going to be able to defend itself. So, and that's what the result is on this one. I don't know if this is the root cause of it, but it definitely wouldn't help. I think I'll just, and this isn't even like wet. It seems pretty airy, but I think they've made a pretty, there's another one, pretty bad impact. So need to repot this completely, find all those, give them to the ducks, and repot it with better soil. And so yeah, and then all of these will be placed over there to get more sun and less humidity. And yeah, that's about it. You can treat with other stuff for fungal infections, but that's what I'm doing. And we'll see what happens.